Welcome to MS General Repair. My name is Mike. This is going to be part 1B of the Cadet repair video series. I've got all of my parts laid out here for rebuilding this carburetor, and so we'll get going on that. So, first thing we're going to do is we've got the emulsion tube here, and we've got to put an O-ring into the grooves at each end of that. And the O-rings came in the new kit. And I'm just going to put a little bit of synthetic oil on them to lubricate them. And get them rolled over the end and into the groove. These are very small, so they could be a little challenge to get in there. Okay, the end of the emulsion tube that's turned down to a smaller diameter, I did off camera. I had to walk it on there with the tip of my scribe. I did it off camera because there's no way I could keep my fingers out of the way so that you could see anything. So that's all set. And then the next thing is the throttle shaft has a couple little burrs on the back side of the screw holes, so I'm just going to take a file and knock those off. So that they're not binding and damaging the bore that these go through in the carburetor body. So that should be all set. The seat for the solenoid fuel shutoff came with 3 O-rings. One seals outside air, and the other 2 seal it internally. So we're going to do the same thing with those. Just a little bit of synthetic motor oil to lube them. This way they slide in there and seat better, and you have less chance of tearing them when you go to slide this unit in there. This one wants to keep twisting and rolling. So we'll see if we can walk it around on there and get it to stay like so. And then there's the next size that goes in the other groove here. A lot of people don't bother lubricating them. I was taught to put O-rings in lubricated, not particularly on carburetors, but basically any application, so I don't see why a carburetor should be any different than O-rings and O-ring. Okay, so that part's all prepped. Then we'll get the interestingly enough, there's a little slight delay to design change. The old one had a flat O-ring out here that they gave you with the rebuild kit, and this one here has a narrower groove, and they give you a round O-ring with that came with the part. So I don't know why that is, but the new part is a genuine Kohler part, so for some reason they felt it necessary to do a little design change. So now we're gonna put the float and needle assembly in. We'll drop the needle down into the needle seat. Get it in there so it's hanging from the retainer spring. And then we've got one screw that retains the hinge pin. Guess I didn't get the hinge pin underneath the screw before I snugged it down somehow. Okay, so that's all set. And what you can do is you could blow through your fuel inlet with it upside down, and you shouldn't be able to blow through it. And if you flip it right side up with the float drop down, then you should be able to blow through it. And that's working as it should. And the float looks like it's maybe a little tiny bit low, so I'm just gonna bend that tab slightly, or the float was a little bit high rather. So now it's sitting pretty well where the seam on the float is parallel with the carburetor body seam. And so now we'll get our gasket in there. You just want to put a little oil on that gasket. It's basically the same material as the O-ring. It's a rubber gasket, and a little bit of oil on it will help everything glide together for reassembly. And also the static tension of the oil will help keep the gasket in place down in the groove there, so it won't want to keep popping out of the groove on you. And then we've got the choke arm that's got to go back in with the choke spring. Let me get that popped back in there. Okay, so we've got the float and needle are mounted. The main body gasket is mounted. The choke plate and choke shaft are installed, and that's about it for right now for the upper half of the carburetor. Now we're going to get into the lower half, the base half. We're going to put the reinstall the main jet. and the seat for the for the fuel shutoff solenoid. And it's not wanting to go in there. Let's try see if we can go the other way with it. Maybe if we put this O-ring into the carburetor body here first. And then put the let's see if we can get this in here. Okay, I made a little goof. The third O-ring doesn't go on this side of the fuel shutoff seat. It goes out here to seal the plunger body, and then when this is mounted, it seals down into this surface here. So that's the way that goes. Okay, and then we'll get the throttle shaft, and there's a little felt dust boot that goes down on here and backs up against the linkage arm here, just to seal any contaminants out of there.